break this? Can you get an Irish jig right now?
Yeah, can you do it?
Oh my god.
Yes. It's March 22nd. We are on the third week of the Artist's Way. It's cloudy outside. It's Saturday, so I'm doing this a day early, and my head hurts. I set up my espresso machine the other day, and I've been trying to cure these headaches by drinking a lot of caffeine per day. The caffeine's not really working. Drinking a lot of water, that's not really working either. Just kind of in a weird slump. Getting really, really sick of Santa Cruz nightlife, like the lack of it. Feeling senioritis quite a bit. I want to be out in the world. It was a slow week, but it was quietly revelatory. There were some interesting things that came up. This week, I was recovering a sense of power. I'm excited to see what the next 9 weeks are gonna look like, because this is about, I think, where I dropped off when I started last time, maybe week 4. I have been having a lot of fun just filming these and uploading them. Who knows who is gonna see them and when and why. It's cool to see so many different people on the internet doing the Artist's Way right now, which I assume is also because they watch the doechii videos. Let's see, what have I been doing this week? Lots of espresso, lots of books. I just started reading Jazz by Toni Morrison. I'm also still reading Dharma Bums by Jack Kerouac, but I dropped off with that one a little bit. It's a collection of books that I found at little free libraries. I've been going to the beach. I went and saw my gallery piece on campus. I've been realizing that one of the main things that needs to change about my life right now is that I need to be prioritizing my friendships a lot more. This is usually not a problem for me. It's not something I need to remind myself on. But I feel like this school year, just in my time in Santa Cruz, I've been hanging out with people significantly less than in my time basically anywhere else. And while part of that has been nice in preparing me to, be alone, as I will inevitably have to be during, different periods of time in my life, being alone and not reaching out to my friends is not inevitable. This is a thing that I could just change. I have a surplus of wonderful people in my life, and I have a lot of budding friendships as well, alongside the more established ones that I would like to feed. I would like to try to feed my friendships in general. Last week felt like I got a dose of being around my friends in the way that I like to be, and then I came back here and I've just been kind of lounging around and not doing much and not being in the world much. But the parts of my day where I am out in the world are generally best, other than the creative parts. I've been noticing that it's really hard for me to record. Part of that is just I've been sick the last couple days, but the release of my album is almost entirely dependent on me getting these recordings done. And so I am still trying to release it in May, and it's the end of March, and I'm not going to be able to record until April. So I'm going to need to absolutely figure out how to prioritize recording in April. I think that's going to require re-looking at why I'm doing it and what I'm doing, and addressing some of the problems that are coming up in me doing it, making it an environment that I want to be in, because it just gets very tedious recording. And I mean, it can be really satisfying, but between warming up and it takes me a long time to adequately warm up, and redoing a take a million times because there's always one flat note or whatever, or always feeling like I could be giving a better performance, weighs on me. I'm gonna have to figure out how to remove some of those barriers standing in my way, and stop standing in my own way, essentially, because I want this shit out. I want it out in the world, and it feels like it's been incubating for so long, and I am finally at the skill level that I need to be at to execute it in the way that I want it to be. But I also don't want to be constantly delaying putting it out because I'm getting better, because I'm always going to be getting better. If I do that, then nothing's ever going to get released, because of course I could wait a couple more months and probably be better at something at that point. But I don't want to do that. I Anyways, we went a lot into childhood this week. A lot of the questions had to do with like recovering parts of your childhood self that you have lost, and a lot of the imagination and play and presence that childhood affords. In addition to the prompts that I did, I also wrote down, there was like 20 questions or so. So I'm gonna read those to you now. I said, my favorite childhood toy were my calico critters, onto which I could project my make-believe stories. I also loved my interactive globe in a relatively autistic way. I would just be zooming in and clicking shit on my globe and learning capitals of cities and populations and fun facts for like hours and hours and hours for like months on end, which has persisted into my adulthood. My favorite childhood game was Play Pretend, always. Usually I would be projecting onto like other universes. I was really into Harry Potter, really into Series of Unfortunate Events. We would just kind of take the pre-existing universe and start like spitballing. The best movie I saw as a kid was the Harry Potter series, which absolutely dominated my life for probably 3 years, also in a pretty autistic way. But that's an egg I haven't cracked yet. I don't do it much, but I enjoy, I said, climbing, swimming, and playing in the park. I'm like not really a gym person. I would so much rather be exercising in the way that God willed by running around on my legs. If I could lighten up a little, I would tell myself to play more, to be bolder in my approaches to creativity and to romance, to not be afraid to look dumb, and I would skip around more. I was chatting with somebody at the show that I did last weekend, and then he skipped away, and I was like, oh my god, why am I not doing that too? So much joy and whimsy. And he didn't even like address that he was doing it. Anyway, so I'm gonna start skipping more. If it weren't too late, I would. I'm not gonna share that one with you, but I tend to not think that it's too late for anything. So that one hasn't been my biggest struggle. Just in this one specific issue, which I will not be telling you. My favorite instrument, the synthesizer. I think that's pretty obvious if you listen to my music. The amount of money I spend on treating myself to entertainment each month. I said I honestly spend a decent amount, but I buy a lot of small shit and I buy a lot impulsively, like when I'm out on the town. And I don't spend as much as I could stand to spend on like experiences. Like, I go to a lot of house shows, but I haven't been spending my money on live music or like festivals as much as I probably could. And also big appearance changes. I feel like I'm usually buying pretty small stuff day to day, but there's been all of these things that I want to do. I, want to switch my helix out and get a haircut and dye my hair, and I got some tattoos that I want. And I feel like I'm less willing to spend money on those things because they feel like bigger investments. But I think that's exactly why I should be spending my money on that as opposed to, a bunch of like thrifted clothes or whatever, because it's an investment into my like day-to-day life. I do like looking the way that I feel and the way that I want to. And especially with stuff like that, which is just kind of fun stuff and tattoos and piercings and dyeing my hair, and it's less about changing, how I actually look and more accentuating whatever vibe I'm on. That does temper my life in an interesting way. I look at the different times I've had red hair, for instance, and they've all been like distinctly red hair times. And like my bangs will be like in my face and I'll be seeing the world in red because they'll be right at my eye level. Or like, my hair is what? Like, it just always turns auburn. No matter what I do to it, it's always auburn somehow. It's like I don't want red anymore. I'm gonna do it purple or something. I'm gonna get bangs. Anyway, if I weren't so stingy with my artist, I would buy her a synth rack and a projector. I'm trying to scheme on my live shows right now and figure out how to make them more interesting. I called around and I started asking for feedback from some dear friends. And one of the pieces of feedback that I received that I've been thinking about is Ryan told me my music is too interesting to be doing like a half-ass show. He didn't say that exactly, but that I could stand to be doing more interesting stuff on stage with the kind of music that I make. So I've been thinking about that. So I'd probably get a projector and a synth rack to put all of my shit on. Taking time out for myself is something I know that I need, but it always feels selfish or unnecessary to me. Not ever been able to crack that one. But lately I have been feeling like I want to take better care of myself and give myself whatever it is that I need in order to be doing all right, which is a new feeling. And I fuck with it and I'm gonna follow it. This was a big one. I said, I'm afraid that if I start dreaming, let me get into position for this. This is the important part of the video. I'm afraid that if I start dreaming, I will find out I actually don't measure up, or I am not talented, and I will not be successful or achieve what I want to achieve. I think that I am always very afraid of working to my full potential, because if I work to it and then I realize that my potential isn't what I thought that it was, then I will be immeasurably disappointed in myself. And it almost feels safer to have always this idea that maybe I could be 20% better if I just tried, but the reason that I'm not is because I'm not trying. I've been realizing that I'm really scared to go all in on my creative work, even though I know that this is what I'm meant to be doing, because there's always the promise that it could be better, and I just don't know. And if I find out and it's actually not that good, it's scary. As I was writing that, I was sitting on my back stoop in the sun. I had the thought suddenly, I was like, it's so obvious to me that I've always wanted to be an artist and that I know that this is my path in life. I think I've tried to do a lot to obscure that fact, and I've tried to downplay it, and I just suddenly was like, why have I been pretending like I want to do something else? It's true, I want to do other things as well, and there's a reason that I got my sociology degree. I haven't gotten it yet, oh god, knock on wood that I get it. There's a reason that I got the sociology degree, and there's a lot of other work I want to do throughout my life, and I want to live this very full life. It's so obvious to me that that life is centered around art and my art and investing into my art. And so then I just suddenly had that thought as I was sitting there. I was like, god damn, okay, well, I have to be an artist. I have spoken to myself, and we've concluded that this is what I'm gonna have to do. I'm gonna have to do it. I secretly enjoy reading and watching, I said, reality TV and fan fiction. I have very few guilty pleasures. I'm not guilty about pleasure. If I had a perfect childhood, I'd have grown up to be, I said, someone who has no need to defend or justify herself, and who is truly confident, drawing from the well within herself. I think I am very confident, but I think that I err towards defensive confidence. I'm gonna have to be confident in order to fight against something or to counter something. And I would like to just be truly zen, truly confident, truly reassured within myself, and to know that what I'm doing is right and not be seeking external validation for it. If it didn't sound so crazy, I would make, I said, large-scale live performances in music videos. My parents think artists are, I said, necessary but financially irresponsible. My God thinks artists are following the pathway of the universe. What makes me feel weird about this recovery, I said basically what I just told you. It's so obvious that being an artist is my path in this life, and I've been trying to ignore it for a long time. Learning to trust myself is probably the antidote to my self-doubt and constant need to justify myself. My most cheer-me-up music, I said, that spring playlist from sophomore year. It's got Ryuichi Sakamoto on it, and the Muppets soundtrack, multiple Muppet songs, and a bunch of jazz and bossa nova. And I'm gonna listen to that when I turn this off. My favorite way to dress is, I said, kind of vampy. I've been wearing these huge black boots and these huge black coats, and my hair will be really big, and I'll have lip liner on and dark lips and tights and my sword earrings that are now broken, and my coat that I can't find, my $48 coat that I bought myself with my show money from the MP show in October. And I have very few fucking coats. The coat that I'm wearing right now is the $5 leather jacket that I got at the Goodwill bins, that the pocket is just fully ripped open and hanging out, and I have hair in my mouth. It's gonna bother me if I don't take it out. I went to the dermatologist. It was pouring rain. I got out of my car. The keys fell out of my completely ripped open pocket. I locked them in my car. I had to wait for 2 hours for AAA to show up. I had to charge my phone in the lobby because my phone was dead, so I couldn't call AAA. I did all of this because I couldn't get another fucking jacket. I'm still wearing the jacket. And now it's even more ripped open. So I need that coat so badly, the other one, to reappear. It's been missing for like a month. It's a really dire situation. Anyway, on to the tasks. And I'm gonna wrap this up because my head hurts. This is 5 traits I liked in my child self. I said my creativity, my confidence, I was well-read, I was precocious, and I was sensitive. Really paints a good picture of basically exactly who I am now. 5 childhood accomplishments. This was fun. I got to remember what was like hype back in the day and like what made me proud of myself. The biggest one was they made the mistake of telling me that my reading and vocabulary were at college level when I was in 3rd grade, and then I just like would not fucking stop telling everybody that, hence the precociousness. I got like lead roles in mock trial every year. I would always get to play like the dramatic ass bitch, like not the defendant, but like the other possibly guilty person. I was the lead in a school play one year. I extended this to my high school accomplishments too, because now it kind of feels like childhood. I made sound sensations. It was like the advanced women's choir, and it was hard to get into. And I was coming in feeling kind of underdog-y, because choir was such a big ass deal at my school that like people would be training to do it through like the entire pathway of my school district, like from elementary and middle school. And I was not in that school district, and I didn't really know about choir until my 2nd year. And so then I was like, okay, I'm gonna try at something for the first time in my life. Like genuinely for the first time in my life, I'm gonna try at something. And I like took some vocal lessons, and I prepared my thing, and I like focused all my energy towards getting into this choir, and I got in, and I was one of like 3 people. So that was a big moment for me, and set me off. I was like, oh my god, if I try then I can do things. So then I just became like, my ambition just like multiplied after that. I also wrote down 5 treats of my childhood. I said PB&J on whole wheat. I loved a good frozen Swiss roll, cranberry juice, cheddar sour cream ruffles, and a classic Toll House fudge cookie. Habits. I wrote down 3 bad habits. You're supposed to write down 3 obviously bad habits and then 3 more insidious bad habits, like that you might not get immediately. I said the obviously bad ones are that I sleep in too late, I'm on my phone too much, and lately I haven't been leaving the house, which has been weird as hell. Like obviously I leave the house every day, but like barely, and I'm not very immersed in my surroundings. We'll see if this is calling. That's yours.
Are you ready?
Cheers. Yes. Good job, team.